If working harder was the answer, most business owners would already have the business they want. Think about it. Most owners I meet are not lazy. They are not short on effort. They're not sitting around waiting for the world to fix their business for them. They are working early. They're working late. They're answering messages after dinner. They are carrying staff problems, customer problems, cash flow pressure, operational problems, family pressure, and future decisions in their head every single day. So, if hard work was the missing ingredient, they would be miles ahead already. The real problem is this: working harder on the wrong business problem does not fix the business. It usually just helps you manage the symptom for a little bit longer. And that's exhausting. Hi, I'm Phil Badura at ActionCOACH Business Steps. Today, I want to talk about one of the biggest traps I see small and medium business owners fall into: being busy for the sake of busyness. The owner feels productive because they are moving, they are fixing things, they're responding quickly, they're jumping in, and they are saving the day. But when we step back and look at the business properly, the question is not, are you busy? The question is, are you applying your attention, focus, and energy to the right things? Because business growth does not come from being busy. It comes from working on the right problem at the right level in the right order. By the end of this video, I want you to have a simple way of identifying whether you're treating symptoms or solving root causes. And more importantly, I want you to know where to direct your energy next. Why the busy owner trap feels so convincing. Here is why the trap is so convincing. Busyness gives you immediate feedback. You answer the email, done. You fix the roster, done. You calm down the upset customer, done. You jump into the job because your team is behind, done. And you stay back and finish what somebody else did not finish, done. Every one of those things gives your brain a little reward. You feel useful. You feel needed. You feel like the business survived another day because you were there. But that is also the warning sign. If the business only survives because you keep personally absorbing the pressure, you do not have a business that is getting stronger. You have a business that has learned to use you as the system. That's not leadership. That is dependency. And dependency on the owner is one of the most expensive hidden costs in business. It costs time. It costs profit. It costs family energy. It costs sleep. It even costs confidence. And eventually, it costs business growth. So let's talk about symptoms versus the root cause. Let me make this practical. A symptom is what you can see, feel, or complain about. The root cause is the reason that symptom keeps coming back. So an owner says, we do not have enough sales. Now, that may be true, but the root cause may not be sales volume. It might be poor conversion. It might be weak follow-up. It might be unclear target market. It might be discounting. It might be that the sales team is chasing the wrong prospects. It might be that the offer is not strong enough. Or it might be that the business has leads, but nobody is nurturing those leads properly. Another business owner says, my staff keep interrupting me. Again, true. But the root cause may not be that the staff are hopeless. It may be that standards are unclear. It may be that decision rights have not been properly defined. It may be that there is no daily or weekly rhythm. Or it may be that no one has trained or been trained how to solve problems without coming straight back to the owner. Now, another business owner says cash flows is tight. The symptom is cash pressure, but the root cause might be pricing, margin, slow invoicing, poor data follow-up, too much work in progress, lack of stock control, rework, or simply not looking at the numbers early enough. That is why working harder is dangerous when you have not identified the real issue. You can work harder chasing sales and still not fix profit. You can work harder helping the team and still not build accountability. You can work harder doing the work and still not build systems. You can even work harder serving clients and still not build a business that works without you. So, what is the cost of solving symptoms? When you only solve symptoms, the business gets temporary relief, but it does not get stronger. It's a bit like having a leak in the roof and spending every rainy day mopping the floor. You're active, you're busy, you may even be working very hard, but the roof is still leaking. In business, the mop looks like this: working longer hours because the workflow is broken, doing quality checks yourself because standards are not owned by the team, discounting to create cash because the model is not profitable enough, hiring another person before you've clarified the role, the numbers, and the accountability rhythm, launching before marketing or launching more marketing before you know whether your follow-up process converts, taking every decision back onto your plate because it feels faster than training somebody else to do that task properly. Now, that may get you through the week, but if you repeat it for months or years, you accidentally train the business to stay the same. And that is the hard truth many owners need to hear. You can become very skilled at surviving the problem without ever solving it. Let me give you an example from the sort of work I do with clients. I will keep the details general because the principle is what matters. I work with a business owner who was convinced the main issue was that the team did not take enough ownership. His words were something like this: "Phil, they just keep coming back to me. No one wants to make a decision. I have to check everything." Now, that is a frustrating symptom. But when we dug deeper, the root cause was not that the team did not care. The root cause was that the business had no clear decision framework. So people did not know what they were allowed to decide. They did not know what standard good looked like. They did not have a simple meeting rhythm to raise issues before they became urgent. And because the owner had solved problems for years by jumping in quickly, the team had learned that the fastest path to safety was to ask the owner. So the answer was not for the owner to work harder. The answer was to build a better rhythm. We introduced clearer role expectations, a short weekly accountability meeting, a simple issue list, and a rule around what decisions the team should bring with a proposed solution, not just a problem. The owner still had to lead, but he did not have to be the answer machine. That is the difference between working harder and working on the right thing. Another common example is marketing. A business owner says, "We need more leads." Now, sometimes that is true, but often when I sit with the owner and look at the full journey, the business does not just have a lead problem, it has a conversion and a follow-up problem. The leads come in, somebody responds once, a quote maybe goes out, but there is no structured follow-up. No one tracks the reason the prospect did not proceed. The owner assumes the market is quiet, so the next answer becomes, "We need more marketing." But more leads through a leaky follow-up system just creates more waste. In cases like that, I will work with clients to slow down and ask, what is the actual conversion path? What happens after a lead makes an inquiry? Who follows up? When do they follow up? What is the next logical step we're inviting the prospect to take? I ask questions like, are we using a diagnostic, a scorecard, a business review, a workshop, or a structured conversation to help the owner self-identify the real problem? This is where tools like a business scorecard, a clarity call, a business review meeting, or a short coaching experience can become very powerful. They shift the conversation from, do you want to buy something, to let's identify what is really holding the business back. Now, that is a much stronger conversation. Now, here is the framework that I want you to take away. As a business owner, you have three incredibly valuable assets: your attention, your focus, and your energy. Attention is what you notice. If you're only noticing urgent noise, you will keep feeding urgency. If you're only watching sales, you may miss margin. If you're only watching team mistakes, you may miss the missing training or system behind them. If you're only watching cash in the bank, you may miss the lead indicators that predict cash flow weeks earlier. Now, focus is what you choose. This is where business owners get into trouble. They try to fix everything all at once: team, sales, cash, marketing, systems, customer service, recruitment, operations, culture, pricing, personal time. And because everything matters, nothing gets enough focus to shift properly. Successful owners learn to choose. They decide that the next highest level, or they decide the next highest level leverage. This is where owners get into trouble. They try to fix everything at once: team, sales, cash, marketing, systems, customer service, recruitment, operations, culture, pricing, personal time. And because everything matters, nothing gets enough focus to shift properly. Successful owners learn to choose. They decide that the next highest leverage constraint, then they stay with it long enough to get a result. Energy. Energy is what you execute. Energy is not just hours. Energy is the quality of effort applied to the right priorities. It is follow through. It's rhythm. It's accountability. It's the willingness to stop doing 10 low value things so that you can properly execute the one or two high value things. When your attention, focus, and energy are scattered, the business feels busy. When they are aligned, the business starts to change. The right things audit. Here is a simple audit you can use this week. So, question 1, what result am I trying to improve? Now, be specific. Not, I want the business to be better. Better how? More profit? More time? Less rework? Better team accountability? Better conversion? More consistent cash flow? Be specific. What is the result that I'm trying to improve? Question 2, what symptoms keep showing up? Write down the recurring frustration. Do not judge it yet. Just name it: the same customer issue, the same staff interruption, the same cash pressure, the last minute panic, the same quality problem. Write down what symptoms keep showing up. Question 3. This is the things you need to be asking yourself. Question 3. What might be causing it? This is where you need to be honest. Do not just blame the easiest person. Look at the system, look at standards, look at communication, look at the numbers, look at the training, look at follow-up, look at role clarity. And finally, look at your own habits as the owner. So that question is, what might be causing it, becomes really important. Question 4, if I fixed the root cause, what would stop repeating? Let me ask that, or say that question again. If I fixed the root cause, what would stop repeating? Now, this is powerful. If solving the issue only gives you relief once, it may not be the root cause. But if solving it prevents the same problem from coming back every week, every day, you are probably closer to the right thing. So again, question 4, if I fixed the root cause, what would stop repeating? Now, question 5, what is the one next action that deserves my attention, focus, and energy? Not 20 actions, one clear next move. It might be creating a weekly scorecard. It might be defining decision rights for the team. It might be reviewing pricing and gross margin. It might be installing a follow-up rhythm. It might be documenting the job handover process. Or it might be creating a proper meeting rhythm so issues are captured before they become fires. The point is not to do more. The point is to do what changes the pattern. Think of it this way. If you tackled one of those problems over the next 6 weeks, how much time is that going to save, not only yourself, but the team, by fixing the root cause? Now, the leadership shift. And this is interesting. This is one of the key traits a successful business owner must adopt. You must stop measuring your value by how many problems you personally solve. I know that can be hard, especially when you built the business by being the person who got things done. In the early days, that's often necessary. You sell, deliver, invoice, follow up, hire, train, and fix. But what gets you started is not always what gets you scaled. At a certain point, the owner's job must change. I'm going to repeat that. At a certain point, The owner's job must change. You move from being the chief problem solver to being the builder of the business. That means you build people, you build systems, you build reporting rhythms, you build accountability, you build the standards, you build a culture where the team understands what matters and how success is measured. You are still active and you are still involved, but you are no longer just reacting to whatever screams the loudest. You are leading the business towards a better design. That is how you get more control, more profit, more time, and more freedom. Here is one more example. I've worked with owners who thought their cash flow problem would be solved by simply selling more. But when we looked at the numbers, sales were not the only issue. The business was underpricing certain work, tolerating too much rework, invoicing too late, and not reviewing margin by job or category. The owner was pushing harder for revenue, but the business model was actually leaking profit. So the real work was not just go and sell more. The real work was to look at the numbers weekly, identify which work was actually profitable, tighten the processes that created the rework, improving the pricing confidence, and making sure that invoicing and data follow-up happened on a rhythm. Now, that's not glamorous, but it is powerful because once you start measuring the right things, you stop guessing. And when you stop guessing, you can make better decisions. That is why Action Coach talks so much about action, accountability, and results. Good intentions do not grow a business. Clear action on the right things does. So here's my challenge to you. Before you spend another week working harder, ask yourself this. Am I solving the real business problem or am I just managing the symptom again? If you're tired of being busy but not getting the result that you want, then it is time to step back and look at the business properly. That is exactly the kind of conversation I have with business owners. We look at your time, team, money, and systems. We identify where the constraint really is. We separate the urgent noise from the right work, and we create practical next steps that you can actually implement. If that sounds useful, schedule a meeting with me, not because you need another thing on your to-do list, because you need to know which things deserve to be on the list in the first place. So take action, get results. I'm Phil Badura, and I look forward to helping you focus on the right things.